सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। There is a clarification from Srikant. We'll take that up, which is pending from last week. We'll take that up first and then we'll go into the verse. Srikant, we have earlier mentioned that social service in today's world is being grossly misunderstood. It's either done out of guilt or has a personal agenda behind it. The knowledge you taught us on yajna in relation to yajna and the 4 types seems to be the ultimate guideline in removing our ignorance about social service. Kindly clarify. Should we voluntarily involve ourselves or should it be a natural response? Good. Social service today means actually what is happening in the name of social service today, it is just satisfying one's ego. That's all. It's a satisfaction of one's own ego that social services is happening. It is better compared to being selfish and self-centered. Only in comparison to being grossly selfish and self-centered, the social service of today is something that we can talk about. But in the real sense of it, the social service today, what Swamiji calls as the distinction between social work and social consciousness. What he distinguishes as the social work and the social consciousness. Social consciousness is an awareness of me having to be unselfish and selfless. Social work is minus this consciousness, minus this awareness, I go and do some charitable work. Minus this awareness, minus this consciousness, we go and do some social work because it satisfies one's own ego. It is I have done something good. What in the modern language they call as feel good factor, no? Feel good factor. What is that feel good factor? You do something good, you feel good that day. That is social work. It means if you have to feel good, people have to suffer, and then you have to go and help them, and then you will come back feeling good that you have done something good. This is social work, which is based on one's own ego. Social consciousness is an awareness of I take care of those around me. I take care of those around me. This is social consciousness. When I say I take care of those around me, Ramatirtha beautifully puts it. Charity begins at home, he says. Service begins at home. Very difficult to serve those who are known to you. It is always easy to go and do a social service. It is always easy to go to a orphanage and take care of the old people. But you have 2 old people at home, you can't. You can't stand them, you can't tolerate them. Now, what kind of a social work is this where I can't stand the 2 old people in my house, but I can go to a old age home and serve the old age? I remember when I was a child, there used to be 2 aunties from our family. Near Thiruvanmiyur, that was the first one of the very first old age homes that came in the city. இப்போ எங்க இருக்குதுன்னு தெரியல. அப்போ அங்க இருந்துச்சு அது. I have gone with them also twice. Old age home. Yeah. Vishrantin பேர் அதுக்கு. I don't know whether it is still there or not. I really don't know. It used to be there. And we used to go. Correct, no? அங்க தான் இருந்துச்சு அது. எங்கேயோ somewhere past Thiruvanmiyur அது போனாங்க. I'm talking about in the early 80s. 81, 82, 83 lala, I used to go with her to that old age home. Very right through the travel, both of them will be bitterly complaining about the people fighting about the people at home, complaining, criticizing, fighting and all that. But as soon as the 9:30, 10 o'clock comes, they pack themselves up ready. They pack their dabbas also for lunch and go to that place, serve and come back. When I used to come back with them, I used to think, how can a person be like this? I didn't know all this. I only thought, how can a person have 2 faces like that? Same old age people. In fact, they are not doing anything to help these 2 women directly. At least the old age, the old people at home are doing some help to them directly, but lot of anger and frustration towards them, but can go and do some work outside. What is the difference? This is the difference between social work and social consciousness. What is social consciousness means? An awareness that everybody takes care of the people around. If everybody takes care of the people around, social work as a separate entity is not required at all, or it is required only in a very big scale. You follow what I'm saying? Now, the difference today is what? Discarding the nitya karma, discarding what they ought to do primarily, they let go of that and go and do work outside, which gives them a feel good, which gives them a feel good factor. It is just a feel good factor. I have done something good today. Go there, you can see them talking to them very affectionately, very compassionately, and all that. Here, the people at home, as soon as they enter the home, the face changes, the words are bitter, anger, irritation, frustration. Why? It is very difficult to serve those who are known to you. It is always easy to serve the unknown. Why it is so easy to serve the unknown is because you don't know anything about them. The known people means you know everything about them. When I say you know everything about them means you know their negativities, you know what all things, the so-called negative thoughts, negative talks, negative things they have, and you feel that They do not deserve your service. Are you able to follow? You have this equal. They don't deserve my service. Now, who deserves your service? As long as you don't know about them, clear. And all the clear. That is why you don't know anybody close. If you get to know anybody close, you will stop serving them. அதனால தான் வீட்டுக்குள்ள யாரும் சேர்க்கிறதே கிடையாது. Don't allow anybody to come into the house, because if the classல மட்டும் பார்த்தா you will think wow, இல்லையா குருஜி என்னெல்லாமோ டைட்டில் போடுறாங்க எல்லாரும், இல்லையா? It's so nice to hear all that. கதவை திறந்து வீட்டுக்குள்ள விட்டா half an hourல, இல்லையா, நீல சாயம் வெளுத்து போச்சுன்னு they say, no? It becomes like that. It becomes so obvious that there is nothing there. Now, this is the difference between social consciousness and social work. Now, should we voluntarily involve ourselves, or should it be a natural response? You have to voluntarily involve yourself. You have to voluntarily involve yourself in service. For service is always an effort. Service is never a natural response. If you are evolved to a very great height, service is your way of life. At this point of time, everybody has to make an effort to voluntarily involve themselves in some unselfish activity. When I say voluntarily involve, means effort has to be done to involve oneself. If effort is not done, you cannot involve yourself. Only difference is you should not wait for a natural disaster. You should not wait for something extremely bad to happen. You should not wait for that. The alternative is, if you follow the formula of Nitya Naimittika Karma, carefully follow. If you follow the formula of Nitya Naimittika Karma, every day you are serving. You don't have to do separately as something called social work. That is how Vedanta has incorporated social work as the daily routine activity. It doesn't talk about social work as a separate activity. The social work is incorporated in the daily activity, itself, in the form of Nitya Naimittika Karma. What is that Nitya Naimittika Karma? We talk about taking care of the 5, no? Worshipping the gods, Deva, Rishi, Pitru, Manushya, Bhuta. Deva, Rishi, Pitru, Manushya, Bhuta. If you are doing this every day, which is what you are supposed to do, this is Nitya Karma. If you are doing this 5 every day, there is no need to go and do a separate, there is no need to go and do a thing called social work separately. Deva, Rishi, Pitru. How do you do that? You prostrate to them. You can't go and serve them. You prostrate to them. Say thank you and prostrate to them. Yeah. That is why in our culture we say, as soon as you wake up, the first thing that you have to do is, after brushing and all that, you have to go to the puja place and do one prostration. It is social work, because you are recognizing the contribution. The Deva, the Rishi, the sages who have been the Rishis is a separate category. Why they are a separate category is because they are the ones who are spending who have spent their lifetime, that did extraordinary tapas and brought this knowledge out for our welfare. So a prostration to them also. Pitru means ancestors. Ancestors means all the human beings of the past. I am today what I am because of their contribution also. So I prostrate to them also. So, 3 prostration banna, 3 social work is done. Deva, Rishi, Pitru. Then comes Manushya. Ingadam konjam difficulty. Yenna, Deva, Rishi, Pitru, we don't know who they are. Even if we know only, we can imagine all the goodness in them, and it is easy to prostrate. Bhuta means lower species. Bhuta means lower species. That is also easy to serve. Lower species are also easy to serve. Why? Because why illa Jivan, sir. They don't have the why illa Jivan. Poor things they are. Easy to serve them also. So in the Nitya Karma, 4 romba easy. 4 is very easy. The most difficult thing is what? The most difficult thing is what? Manushya Yajna. Manushya Yajna means serving those from whom you are directly receiving the benefit, meaning those around you. That is extremely difficult. So, all this 5 has to be done voluntarily. Having done this 5, you have done this Nitya Karma. And then what happens? Extraordinary situations in life demands a Naimittika Karma, like floods. When there is a flood or when there is a famine, things like that, you go on. That is a Naimittika Karma, which doesn't happen every other day. So what do you do? That is Naimittika Karma. You go on voluntarily, whatever you can do, you do. Now, there is a batch of volunteers today. Wonderful group they are. There are about 80, 90 in that group. They are doing that wonderful work now. What are they doing? Volunteering to dispose the COVID-19 bodies with respect and grace. There is a group of people doing that, where most of the family members don't want. Don't want. The welfare association says, don't bring the body. Yeah. The welfare association will say, don't bring the body inside. The people at the house also says, distance length, we'll do prashita, karmalna, sastrikal, we'll do all that. But don't. Now it is a Naimittika Karma, because this is a special occasion where some work has to be done. See, I am not suggesting any one of you to start anything like that. If you start anything like this and if you get COVID-19 infection, don't. Sir, I am not a disclaimer. Disclaimer. I am just giving a Naimittika Karma example. This is an example for Naimittika Karma. So, what is social consciousness? Nitya Karma is social consciousness. Social work is Naimittika. Occasionally it has to be done. So, in this category, what you should do? You should make an effort to do the Nitya Karma every day. Whenever possible, you should voluntarily involve yourself in Naimittika, depending on your ability, the time, the resources, various factors come in. Suppose for whatever reasons you can't do that, at least you can sit inside the house and pray. Even if you can't go and physically do, you can sit inside the house and pray for the welfare. Even if you are praying for the welfare, you are still doing your social work. To conclude, the noblest of social work, the noblest of social consciousness, the highest, the best, the noblest is the Gayatri Mantra. The noblest, the best, the highest sacrificial activity that you can do for the welfare of the society is the Gayatri Mantra. What is Gayatri Mantra? I have said this any number of times. Let our intellects be It's not praying for your intellect. You are praying for the development of intellect of all the Manushyas. All the Manushyas, you collectively pray for the development of their intellect. Now, idhukku mele you can't do any higher social work than that. In the Bhagavad Gita verse that we studied last, from where Srikant is bringing the reference, he says the best social work that you can do is Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna. The best social work that you can do is Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna. So, if at all you really want to help people, voluntarily what you do? You do this Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna. Therefore, it is always a voluntarily involving yourself in service. Never make it when you voluntarily involve yourself for a period of time, at some point of time it will become natural to you. So in the initial stages you have to voluntarily involve, and when you voluntarily involve, don't get carried away by the naimittika karma of what is happening outside. First you have to ensure nitya karma is done. After nitya karma is done, you can go to, after nitya karma is done, you can always go to naimittika karma too. Is it okay, Srikant? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, sir. Yeah. Last time when you explained us about the response, the 4 types of response. So it's like we need to practice that yajna, involve it in your day-to-day work itself.
You have to involve, you have to practice it. All the 4 yajnas you have to practice.
Practice it.
All the 4 yajnas you have to practice. In that hierarchy, he's saying, if we say all the 4 you have to practice, in the hierarchy, try to spend as much time as possible in the subtler aspects of yajna. In the subtler aspects of yajna, you try to spend as much time as possible.
Okay.
Is it okay, Srikant?
Yes, sir. And even if you are, whether it's social service involving ourselves or like the practicing yajna, I think we need a qualification.
Yes.
We need a capability. We need to improve our capabilities.
Correct.
You already suggested us, like we need the capability to improve the abundance for ourselves.
Correct.
Do some service or
correct.
Physical endurance you were clearing us about.
Yes.
If you need to help others physically also, we need a capability.
We need correct. We need that capability first. It means I need to work on myself first.
Yeah.
Before trying to help another, I need to work on myself. Exactly like in the flight they say, before helping others, you put your mask first. Even your wife and children may be sitting next to you, but you have to put your mask first. Then only you will be having the capability to help. So it is very, very important to have the capability. And what is the natural capability in every human being? The divine gift. The divine gift is the intellect that is given to human being already. Divine gift is intellect is given. Material to develop that intellect is also given. When these two are combined, and when you do this yajna, you are doing the highest, the best, noblest of work you are doing. So what we try in this classroom is to increase the capability at the subtler layers. Not to say that the lower layers should not be done. The lower layers are naimittika. The 5 is nitya. That has to be done. That has to be done every day. Service is a recognition that unasked for you are provided, for which you show your gratitude. What is service? Service comes from this understanding. You are provided. Unasked for, you are provided. To that providence, that is, to that providence that has provided you, you are thankful and grateful. And when you are thankful and grateful, it will flow into action automatically. When you are thankful and grateful, it will flow into action automatically. Most of the time what happens, the action may come, but the gratitude may not be there. Action may come, but gratitude may not be there. The moment there is gratitude, action will flow automatically. So service comes from this factor. What is factor? What is the factor? Service comes from this factor. What is that factor? The factor of I am provided. Number one, you are provided. Number two, unasked for, you are provided. Number three, you didn't even know what to ask for. You didn't even know what is beneficial to you. So you didn't even know what is beneficial to you, but somebody thought about it and they provided it for you. These are the steps involved in understanding service. First is you are provided. Keta sir kuttanga. No. Second is you didn't even know. You didn't even ask for it. Number three, you didn't even know what to. You didn't even know what to ask for. As the child is in the womb, as the child is growing in the womb, ready to come out, the mother's body starts making milk. It's not that the child comes out, starts crying, asks for milk, and then the mother, and then the nature does it. It has anticipated your need and you are provided. Are you able to follow? It has anticipated your need and you are provided. For that factor where your needs are anticipated and you are provided for, you are grateful. And that gratitude will naturally, automatically flow into service. I have all the attitudes, sir, but nothing I can do. It will not happen like that. If you have the attitude, you will look for opportunities, you will create opportunities to serve. If you are not interested in that, you will say, oh, Vedanta in class attitude dana sir mukyam. I have all the attitude and I will sit quietly at home and not do anything. It will not work that way. If you have developed this, you will start serving automatically. And where do you start? Where do you start? Taittiriya Upanishad says it very beautifully. Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo. Where do you start? You start with the father, the mother, not an emotional, sentimental attachment, but one of gratitude. Why? Because you know that they have anticipated and given. And then you go deeper and deeper and deeper. There are some who serves you known. There are most who serves you unknown. There are some who serves you directly known. And The vast majority is serving you unknown. Now, you need to be aware of both and be grateful to both. That is service. The known sources, the unknown sources. The unknown sources, God in symbolica, we call them as God. There is no such God. It is a symbolic representation of the unknown sources of help. What are the unknown sources of help? Like he says, have you paid your oxygen bills? Have you paid your oxygen bills? Bills vanda I will pay, sir. Yarum kudukave illaya enakku bill. Bill vanda I would have paid. It is not that. Unknown, even though you don't know, you are provided. So in Sanskrit, it is called drishta and adrishta. The known and the unknown. And you are grateful to both. And when you are grateful to both, what happens? Service comes automatically. And you would know your areas of service. You know what you know where you can serve, you know where you can't serve. Accordingly, you will. Lastly, we have to be very clear. Service is not what you like to do. Service is that what you ought to do. Always remember this. Service is not about what you like to do. I like to do this, it's not service anymore. Whether you like it or not, this is what you ought to do. That is service. And knowledge. And knowledge helps you to identify this. And knowledge helps you to identify this. And when if everybody starts doing it in this way, what happens? If everybody starts doing it in this way, more or less the society is taken care of. I have given this example any number of times. Even 30 years back, 40 years, up to 40, 50 years back, it used to. In every house, there will be 1 or 2 old people unconnected to the family sitting in that house. No, some aunt will be there, some uncle will be there, unconnected to the family. Some distant relative, somebody where they are orphaned. The family says, "Come on." The family will say, "Come and live with us." I remember 2 aunties in my family living like that. And invariably, they will be the troublemakers in the family also. Yeah, they will not stay quiet also. Invariably, they will be the troublemakers also. But they discount all that. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, that is service. They discount that and they say, it's okay. So what? It's okay. So what? Opposite of that is conditions. I am serving you, just shut up. Yeah, that is not service. Service is something extraordinary which comes only through knowledge and understanding. It is not an emotional, superficial thing. It's not just an superficial, emotional thing that you start doing service. It is not that. It comes out of a tremendous understanding. Seriya? Srikanth. Prasanna. What is the difference between feel good factor and krita krityascha that Swamiji taught us? Krita krityascha is the satisfaction of having done what ought to be done. Krita krityascha means the satisfaction of having done what ought to be done is one of the qualities of a spiritual person. The spiritual person has this krita krityascha. Distinct and different from that is the feel good factor. What is that feel good factor? I feel like doing it today, I will do. Tomorrow you will not feel like doing it, you will not do. That is feel good factor. Krita Krityascha means whether you like it or not, you have bent your ego, you have bent your desires, you have sacrificed you have sacrificed something of yours for the benefit of
Society.
another. And when you do that, there is a unknown satisfaction. There is a satisfaction. What is that satisfaction? Krita Krityascha. The satisfaction, Krita Krityascha Bharata, he says. You will have the satisfaction of having done what ought to be done. If you fight this battlefield and even if you die, even when you are dying, you will have the satisfaction of dying. Why? Because you are dying, doing that which ought to be done. Opposite of that, you run away from this battlefield and become a great spiritual orator, you will still feel deep inside you, you will still feel that a irritation, a frustration. Why? Which you ought to do. That's the difference. That's a fundamental difference. In Krita Krityascha, the satisfaction is out of dissolving the ego. In Krita Krityascha, the satisfaction arises out of the dissolution of the ego.
Doing all the rinas,
in the feel good factor. Sorry?
Like doing all the rinas.
Whatever you ought to do, you do. There is a satisfaction of doing what ought to be done. That satisfaction there is arising out of dissolution of the ego there. In feel good factor, the ego is getting
boosted,
strengthened. The ego is getting strengthened, which is not service at all. That is the fundamental difference between feel good factor and Krita Krityascha. In Krita Krityascha, the satisfaction is the ego is gone. The dissolution of the ego is the greatest service. What is the greatest service that you can do to yourself and to the society?
Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna.
Dissolving your ego. Na egoistica illama irundale, that is the greatest service I can do to others, to myself and to others. Now, what is the greatest disservice?
Having ego.
Being tremendously egoful. Yeah, having lots and lots of ego. I am doing the greatest disservice to myself and to others. So, what is Krita Krityascha here? Krita Krityascha is the satisfaction that you arise out of dissolving the ego. Now, how does the ego get dissolved? You do that which you ought to do, whether you
like it or not.
Like it or not. You feel, you get up in the morning and you feel like, oh, today I don't feel like exercising. Cheating day today. Apra ella day one cheating day na. Yeah. Monday is the cheating day, Tuesday is the cheating day, Wednesday is the cheating day, Thursday is the cheating day. So that day you get up, the body says lazy, the mind says it's okay to relax. Let us rest for today. You break that and get up and do what you have to do. There is a satisfaction. This is called Krita Krityascha. This is called Krita Krityascha, which is distinctly different from feel good factor. Feel good factor is what people today say as likes and dislikes, the feel good factor. Every generation, every decade, that generation has to use a new vocabulary. In that, creating that new vocabulary, they feel they have done something. They feel they are much better than the past. Yeah. Yesterday, Sri Ram taught me one. Yeah. Yesterday, Sri Ram taught me Joe. Yeah. I sent it to our Joe. He was like, hey, from where did you hear this? I sent it to our Joe. I said, hey, I learned about you today. You are a very ordinary person. I texted it to her. No, we have a academy alumni called Joe. So I sent it. I typed to him yesterday. they bring in new work. We are not saying it is right or wrong, good or bad. The concept has to be very clear. What is the concept? Feel good factor is nothing but attending to one's own
Ego.
feel good factor is nothing but attending to one's own likes and dislikes, which is different from krita krityascha. Seriya? Is it okay?
Right, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, Bala. Devarshi Brahma Yajna. Yes. 5 yajnas that you mentioned. Yes, Bala. It is the same thing. It is exactly the same thing. Now, what he is referring is a specific ritual called Brahma Yajna he is referring to. In that Brahma Yajna, Devarishi Pitrus are, they are thanked. They are thanked. That is the ritual. Now, everybody has to do these 3. Correct. Now,
one question, sir, if it is
Yes.
okay to ask. Yeah, I will keep it in the as much as possible in the context of the class, the Gita. Okay. But there is another portion which will be tangential. We can take it offline. First, I will come to the straight correlating thing. The Yajna Karma, we talked about 3 hours and all that. Yeah. So, on the Yajna Karma, the last finishing touch you gave was giving dravyam, and then the next one is kainkaryam, physical body and all that, and finally you start saying giving the Brahma Vidya is the ultimate one and all that. Right? That's why we stopped it. So, on the context, the concept of Brahma Yajnam, assuming that everybody is entitled to do this, what was Sandhyavandan procedure and this Brahma Yajnam also being in Madhyanikam, right? So, is it considered with the same context with the intention of doing the Yajna Karma as defined in the Upanishad, which is in the Bhagavad Gita? That is same as the daily ritualistic practice?
yes.
Or it is, or it is not?
It is part of the Vedantic Upanishadic tradition.
It is not a ritualistic and the Smriti based.
It's not a ritualistic practice.
Oh,
It is a gratitude. That is why I explained to Srikanth that the unknown help is these 3. We have help from known sources. We have help from unknown sources. So the unknown sources is what we call as Deva Rishi Pitru, is what we call as the unknown sources. The known sources is Manushya and
Bhuta. Okay.
the Bhutas. So every day it is a Nitya Karma for every human being to say thank you to all these 5 every day. Now, which mantra you use, which language you use is immaterial.
Okay.
The language, the mantra and all that is immaterial. These 5 has to be done every day.
Okay. So having that clarity, so it is nothing but the Yajna Karma as defined in Bhagavad Gita, which is coming from Upanishad. There is nothing but the ritualistic.
Yes.
I don't know what is ritualistic. In the Sandhyavandanam procedure, Madhyanikam, especially around noon, is nothing but the same. It is putting it in a structured process way.
Correct.
That's okay. Okay. Now the second portion, you can take it offline if you want. I'll just ask the question. The second portion of it is, for example, my book which I am following, right, which I sent you also, it doesn't even have that. There is not even a reference. Yes. And many people I talk to, I'm not blaming anyone or not. Many people I talk to, every month of during Amavasa, that day itself is not auspicious or not auspicious. So that's when you do all this. You shouldn't do it daily. There is no need. People give all kind of nonsense or I don't know, their own imagination answer and all. Right?
Correct.
That is saying no, you should do every day because that's how you show gratitude. I don't know. I'm lost actually. And many books I refer to, it is not even there. And people say, anyway, you have to cut, you don't have time. So this is the best thing to cut off every day. So I'm really lost. Who is right? Who is wrong? What is tradition? Is it Smriti? Is it Shruti? Coming from Upanishad, all that I have.
Correct. With all humility, with extreme humility, I am right. Now, solradha right.
Okay.
With all humility, I am saying this. With all humility, I am saying this. With the most arrogant, egoistic statement. I am right. You are right, Bala. Most of the people have not done enough study, number 1.
Okay.
Number 2 is they have so many other priorities. Number 3, most of this is done out of fear of avoiding problems. Panlana problem vandrum, therefore do it.
Okay. Okay.
Now we are not here. We are discussing doing all this out of a knowledge and understanding.
Okay. Okay.
That is why with extreme humility. Yeah. Suresh, correct na solradhu? I can say that I am right na. Nalla Monday, correct. Yeah, he said very well. Correct. Is it okay, Bala?
Sure. Yeah. The rest I probably will talk to you in private.
Yeah.
Like the Amaz Darpana, use sesame seeds and
Correct.
all that.
Correct. All that we will talk in private.
Private, yeah. But I think the concept is nothing but Gita's
Yes.
essence is captured in the daily procedure.
Correct.
There's no-
The practice has to be done every day.
Okay.
Depending upon the culture, depending upon the background, people may have different procedures about it.
Okay. Okay.
That is dependent upon the culture, the background and all that. But all these five have to be attended to by all human beings, irrespective of where they are. Whether they are in China or Africa, Alaska or Australia, all of them have to,
Got it.
all
Yeah.
human beings have to do this.
Because it's a gratitude. Okay.
Because of gratitude.
Gratitude. Okay.
Because
and
of
why it's around noon? Any particular?
Yes.
Why not in the morning or evening? Adu mari illa adu or it's out of topic.
correct. Avella ritualistic details which we will talk separately.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah. I will
Yeah.
go offline. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Sriram. A slightly controversial question. அது என்ன கான்ட்ரோவர்சி பார்க்கலாம். இப்போ ரொம்ப கான்ட்ரோவர்சியா இருந்தா சாய்ஸ்ல விட்டுறலாம். டீல் பண்ண முடிஞ்சா இல்லையா, டீல் பண்ண முடிஞ்சா we will take it. ஏன்னா அவரே கான்ட்ரோவர்சியல் கொஸ்டின் போட்டதுனால சாய்ஸ் இருக்கு நம்மளுக்கு இப்போ இல்லையா. A controversial question. Even in the case of Gandhi, they say he was father to a nation, but not to his sons, and there are movies on it. Some criticize him saying he didn't do what he ought to have done. Does that mean he hasn't served as per the Gita and Vedantic definition, or rather he forgot his primary duty of serving his family first? This complaint will be there with all. This complaint will be there with all great masters. Gautam Buddha, the same problem. About Gautam Buddha, the same problem. About Shankaracharya, the same doubt. With everybody, all those who have served. About Ramana Maharshi, the same. About Ramakrishna, the same. Now, in the specific case of Gandhi, I am not talking about that. Because mostly hearsay stories தான் எனக்கே தெரியும்ன்றதுனால, and also I have not really studied about him in detail also. I have studied his book, that's all. But more than that, I have not really went into his life detail so much so that I can really comment anything on the specific case. That's why I am generalizing it and saying this will be the problem with those who have let go of the lower to attend to the higher. A scientist, you can the same complaint will be given about the scientist who spends his entire lifetime in the lab. The same complaint will be given about the scientist also. Why only freedom fighters? Even the great inventors, the great scientists, the great thinkers, the same complaint. And nevertheless, from their perspective, there was no guilt. From their perspective, they never had the guilt. They never let go of it. Their attention, they paid attention to something higher. When they paid attention to something higher, a few gets sidelined. But why we say them as great is because for that effort, like a scientist also, like like even a scientist, for the amount of effort that they have to do, the amount of sacrifices they do for all that, and the benefit that generations get over it. We say they truly fit under the Gita and Vedantic definition of service. Vedantic Gita definition of service starts with the layperson first. When it addresses the layperson, it will say, at least take care of the immediate family first. When it is addressing that level of human being. When it is talking to the human being who is extremely attached and possessive to the family, the Gita, the Upanishadic definition is step out, increase the circle of identification, increase the circle of identification. Therefore, it is to whom it is said, the adhikari, the particular, to that particular adhikari it is said, to that particular person it is said. For a person who is indifferent to the family and going and doing social work outside, just because he likes to do it, he is not performing any great sacrifices for it. He is not having any dharmic notions behind it. He is not doing anything. He just does it because he loves to do it. How do you know that he loves to do it? 4 days he will do, 3 days he will take a break. A scientist works 24/7. He doesn't take a, See, even for you, is there a holiday?
No.
Middle of the night, if the fellow calls you to the lab, no, you have to
Go.
You have to go. There you can't say a Saturday, Sunday holiday.
Right.
A scientist can't take holiday. That is a sacrifice that person makes. So when that's if that kind of a sacrifice that person is making, what happens is certain things that person will not be able to attend to, which is not, he has forgotten his primary duty. His vision has risen above. His vision has risen above that few. So to that person we will say, go higher, go higher, go higher. So the general formula is, whatever level you are, you have to increase the circle of identification. When they are increasing the circle of identification, the lower will be, sometimes you will not be able to pay attention to the lower. How do you reconcile that they are not discarding the duty? The first factor is that whatever field of activity they have taken, like Gandhi took upon himself to work for the freedom. When Gandhi took upon himself to work for the freedom, there is no Saturday, Sunday holiday. There is no weekend breaks. There is no holiday vacation. He came to India to see his people, no? 22 years he was in South Africa, not even visited once this country. When all his people were, when all the family of him were in this country, he didn't even think of coming once. Now that is sacrifice. You can't say that person has are able to see the difference.
But couldn't it be that he didn't have a sense of identification with his larger family? A
person identifying with hundreds and thousands, it is illogical to say that he doesn't have identification with tens and twenties. A person who can identify with hundreds and thousands will be having identification with the tens and twenties also. He chooses not to attend to it. It is the conscious choice that he makes. Why? Because of him wanting to attend to a larger circle. There we cannot say he has not identified. Second reason is he is not frustrated with his family. He is not irritated with them. He is not bitter about them. He is not angry at them, like the two aunties example I gave. He is not bitter about them. He is not angry. He is not frustrated. He is not all that. He is only saying that my identification is I work for a higher
Cause.
I am working for a higher cause. When they are working for a higher cause, the formula is the lower has to be sacrificed for the
Greater good.
greater cause. For a dam that is going to come, which is going to serve generations and millions, few villages have to be
Sacrificed.
sacrificed. We can't say we don't have identification with those few villages. That few villages have to be sacrificed for the purpose of a larger
Good.
A larger cause. Like when they make the roads, yeah, when they make the roads, somebody on the right hand side, left hand side has to be, they have to lose it. It is for the greater cause.
Greater good.
Now, I can be selfish and self-centered, or I can be genuinely interested in the welfare. Now, here we assume that it is an assumption. Huh? Here it is assumed that Gandhi's intentions were pure. It is assumed that Gautam Buddha's intentions were pure. It is assumed that Shankaracharya's intentions were pure. Ramana Maharishi, it is assumption. Again, I wouldn't call it as assumption also. It is a fact. Why? Because they are able to. Two factors determine that. One is they don't take a break. They don't take a break. 24/7 they are in it. That is the indication of service.
Consistency.
Consistency, exactly correct. Consistency is the key. And that man is serving for 22 years in an unknown place, unknown country is something extraordinary. If a person can identify there, obviously he would have identification here also. But then he would have thought the lower has to be sacrificed for the
Higher.
To protect the country, the soldier gives up his life. The soldier gives up his life to protect the country. And when he is giving up his life, he knows that he has his wife and children back home. He knows that there is the wife, there is the child, there are people at home. He knows that. And yet he goes on, and yet he sacrifices. That is why we say, that is why that person is worshipped. Why? Not because of him. It's not an emotional decision. If it is emotional, means what he would have done. My family is important. He would have run back. He would have run away. No.
First chance he would have come back.
First chance he would have come back. For my family is important. And what the government is going to give us 30,000 rupees or 30 lakhs or even 3 crores is nothing compared to the affection, the love. But then that person is standing there facing the bullets and dying. It is a sacrifice. So what is that sacrifice? That sacrifice is for a larger cause.
Good.
So, yeah.
So, another small aspect, Ranjan. Sometimes you can have the intention or the emotion, but oftentimes there needs to be a unity of thought, word, and deed for the final action of your love or affection to be played out. And oftentimes in human beings, this unity of thought, word, and deed is not there.
Correct.
But does that? But so one person may have good intentions, may have the right notions, but that doesn't necessarily mean it will translate into action. But you said a person who has good intentions and will end up serving. Does that happen all the time?
Yes. will end up serving a higher cause. Now, when Gandhi was in SA, South Africa, he would have got the news that his uncle passed away, aunt passed away, dad passed away, mom. He would have gotten all that. Definitely, he would have also felt
Bad.
He would have definitely felt bad. But then he says, if I keep coming back like this, the cause that I have taken up cannot be served. So there will be the consistency in the cause that they have taken up. There will be the tremendous consistency in the cause they have taken up. Number one. Number two is the doubts do not arise. The critical factor is guilt will not be there. There will not be any guilt at all. The same aunties that I gave, when the people at home, they died, from 3rd month onwards, morning, noon and night, praying to their photograph, doing namaskaram to that photograph. Why? Because guilt has come in. Why? Because they were using the field of service as an escapism from this. It is not to escape from this. Their vision is higher. We're able to. That's why I am comparing and contrasting. A guilt will be there. What is the guilt? I should have done. And one of the critical factors in this is this feeling, this emotion of guilt. In their case, there will not be a guilt. Why? Because the genuinity is protecting them. Their genuinity is ensuring that they don't feel guilty. Now, where people have this doubts is here. They want to serve a higher cause. At the same time, they want to. At the same time, they want to be in the lower also.
Attached to the lower, yeah.
Attached to the lower also. Yeah.
Yeah.
As the simple English saying says, you can't have the cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
As a simple statement, you can't have the cake and eat it too. I can do only one. And there is a consistency in that. And there is a consistency in that. And sacrifices are made to be consistent.
Right.
Actually speaking, இதுதான் crux அங்க. Consistency ன்னு சொல்லிடுச்சுனாலே, sacrifices are implied in that. For consistency demands enormous sacrifices. That is why we don't have to say sacrifices separate. If a person is consistent, means there is
sacrifice.
There are enormous sacrifices that has gone into it. Or a sacrificial person alone can be a consistent person. A person who's ready for sacrifices is the one who can be consistent also. For consistency, it demands sacrifices.
Correct.
Like Swamiji says, people have a tremendous misunderstanding about him. See, he knows, let us say, he knows 3,500 people around the world. Every day somebody's birthday will be there. Every day, every month, every week somebody will get married. Somebody will have, so some occasion or the other will keep happening. Now, he says, if I keep attending to all that, what will happen? Can't do the higher work. Oh, how can he be so heartless? How can he be so cruel? You brought about Gandhi, no? I will bring you a more controversial example. The worst father is Lord Krishna. There is an article. There is a book. Krishna may be a very good philosopher and Krishna may be a very good philosopher and benefited the Pandavas, but as a father, he is a useless father. Proven. Huh? I tell you, one of the hilarious, I read it very seriously also. Hilarious it is. Why? Because his sons were all, you know that, no? Krishna's sons were all very bad in character.
Correct. Yeah, I've read about
They have their character-wise, they are all quite. They are not as great as, not anywhere near Krishna. Now, such a silly logic it is. Mahatma Gandhi's children were not another Mahatma Gandhi's. No.
Right.
Mahatma Gandhi's father also wasn't a Mahatma Gandhi in the first place anyway.
Right.
What is the comparison? Are you able to follow? Now, it makes things from which angle we are looking at it. From which angle we are looking at it. The same argument is given about all those who are working for moksha are seen as very selfish. Because moksha vandu ungalku mattum thana. At least why don't you come and work for the welfare of the community? You are so selfish that you are working for your moksha. And here we are saying exactly the
opposite.
Yeah. Why I am saying that is, Sri Ram didn't bring anything controversial. Yeah. இல்லனா கிளாஸ் முடிஞ்ச உடனே அவங்க அம்மாட்ட இருந்து ஒரு ஃபோன் கால் போகும். How can you insult Swamiji, Guruji? I don't know what she calls her. How can you insult Arvindan like that in the class? Yeah. Phone வருதா அந்த மாதிரிலாம்? வரும் கண்டிப்பா. I know it will be coming. உடனே how can you ask like this? That's why to protect you, I brought in more controversy. So, amma kupta avare controversy kondu vandar man, you can tell your mom. Seriya? It is not controversy, it is a concept. What is the concept? A person working for moksha looks like the most
selfish.
Looks like the most selfish. Because moksha is only for your benefit. When you, how can you let go of all the other things for your benefit? And yet in verse number 27, chapter 4, அதான் நம்ம படிச்சுட்டு இருக்கோம் நினைக்கிறேன். வெங்கட் அதான படிச்சுட்டு இருக்கோம் நம்ம. எந்த டெக்ஸ்ட் படிக்கிறோம்னு எனக்கு மறந்து போச்சு இப்போ. இல்லையா? பகவத்கீதா chapter 4 verse number 28 படிச்சுட்டு இருக்கோம். 29க்கு வரணும், இன்னும் வரல. 28, he says, Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna is the Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna. And then verse number 32, 33 is going to say, Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna is the best. What people assume it to be the most selfish thing, he is saying it is the most selfless thing. Why? The circle of identification, number one. Number two, working for a larger cause. And when you are working for a larger cause, it involves tremendous sacrifices. And what is that sacrifice? 24/7 you are only 24/7 you will be only on that. You can't do anything. You can't do anything else. Or if you are doing anything else, you can't do this. That's why I'm saying even a scientist, the scientist family will have the same complaint about the scientist. The doctor's family will have the same complaint about the doctor's family will have the same complaint about the doctor. The doctor has saved my daughter. I will go and prostrate to him and say, "Oh doctor, you are God." If I go and tell his wife and children that, you know, your husband is such a wonderful doctor, or your wife is such a wonderful doctor, that husband and children will turn back and say, such a useless person. Karthal and the one and the dress a matikittu adu ipo PPE kitta matikittu they go to the They go to the hospital, not even bothering about engalku vandrumondra worry kuda illama they are going and serving there. It is an identification. It is an identification. Without the proof of identification is consistency and sacrifice.
Right. So idla ore or kelvi like yesterday, like a Gandhi or a Buddha, I can understand their detachment. But like yesterday, like I talked about, sometimes you need to be detachedly attached. Either detached or attached. இது வந்து the marry the two in the perfect combination. எப்படி பண்றது? It's like detachedly attached இருக்கணுமா? எப்படி like that is like it is amazing, but it seems utopian to me.
Yes. Yes, it is utopian.
Rather than
what Sri Ram is asking is how to be like a Krishna. Avladhan.
Yeah, exactly. Actually,
what he is asking is how to be like a Krishna. It is utopian. Yes, it is utopian, but achievable provided I follow the prescribed courses. It is utopian, but achievable provided I follow the prescribed courses. The prescribed courses of the few. What are the prescribed courses to get there? Number one, as we saw in the Atma Bodha, Sadhana Chatushtayam, the Adhikaritvam, the Mumukshatvam and all that. And then from this, I develop into the maturity of doing Karma Bhakti Jnana Yogas. When I follow the prescribed courses in the way that it is told to me specifically, not in a generalized way from this classroom. The classroom, generalized methods, we don't prescribe anything at all. It will be told to you in a specific way that you have to do, and if you keep doing it in the prescribed way, you would. It is possible. It is utopian, but possible. Exactly like how to balance in that 1-inch seat bicycle. It is against it is defying the law of physics along, theoretically speaking, to sit in that 1-inch seat and pedal and balance. Stationary it is difficult but achievable provided the prescribed course is followed. In this classroom, what I am trying is to give a conviction in the prescribed formula, to develop a conviction in the prescribed formula so that you all can pick it up and follow. A person doing that would be able to achieve this. A person doing this would be able to achieve this. Doing what? The prescribed methodology. Randomly people do nowadays. The biggest problem nowadays is especially that self-help, self-management. Yeah. And the section I am a self-made doctor. Is it possible? I need to submit to an authority and go through the prescribed course for a while, and then I can become my own authority later. But in the initial stages, I need to do it. I need to submit myself to an authority, which is the method for the vast majority. There may be 1 or 2 exceptions, and exceptions don't make the rule. You can't take the exceptions and make that as a rule. What is the rule? The rule is I have to submit myself to a prescribed methodology for a while and pursue that, and then I can do things on my own after a while.
And
what is 650 verses he keeps saying, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. Lift yourself by yourself. Now, after that, what you should have done? You should have ended the discourse and you should have gone back. No.
Gone.
But he didn't do that. He went on and on and on. It means what? In the initial stages, I need to follow the prescribed
Path.
path. I need to follow the prescription in the beginning. After a while, I can do it by myself, because I have gained enough. I have gained enough knowledge about it. I can do it. Exactly like how a person pursues medicine or engineering or mathematics, any subject for that matter. It has to be followed. I need to follow the prescribed method, especially in the field of self-development, in the field of evolution, in the field of becoming a better human being. People are thinking that they can do it by
Themselves.
They can do it by themselves. If I can do it by myself, all that I need is what? Bhagavad Gita book, Sanskrit dictionary, English dictionary. I know the language. If I know the language, if I know the Sanskrit dictionary, I can help myself, no? Linguistically, you will be able to know that's all. But transformation would not happen. Why? For transformation to happen, I should be under a person and follow the prescribed course for a period of time. Then I become, then I can do it on my own. You follow? This is not only your path. This is not only Sri Ram's problem. This is the problem of everybody. Most have this difficulty. It all sounds very nice to hear. Intellectually, we are able to conceive the grandeur of it, beauty of it and all that. But how is it? Is it realistically possible? Sir, கேட்க நல்லா இருக்குது இதெல்லாம், but உண்மையிலே இதெல்லாம் பண்ண முடியுமா? That's where about Vedanta we always have this. It's so nice to
listen to.
It's so nice to listen. It's so nice to hear. இதெல்லாம் கேட்க தான் சார் நல்லா இருக்கும். Practical life க்கு help பண்ணாது. It helps to one who follows the prescribed course. In all these classes that we are doing, what are we trying to do in all these classes? I am trying to bring in stories, logic, reason, analysis, examples from real life, examples from the Puranas, case study from the real life. எல்லாத்தையும் போட்டு ஒரு சிவுடா மாதிரி கொடுத்து somehow trying to develop the conviction. Somehow trying to develop that conviction. What is that conviction? That you need to follow the prescribed. You need to follow it in the way that it is prescribed for a while, develop some strength and maturity, and then
you can go out on your own.
And then you are on your own. Seriya? It is possible. It is possible to one. That is why being a Shishya is very important. Last week also I said that. Who can do that? Vivekananda says it so beautifully. He says, a Shishya alone, if you see an extraordinary master, he would have been a wonderful Shishya in the past, he says. If you see an extraordinary master, he would have been a wonderful Shishya in the past. Why? Because that's how it works. Shishya means submitting to the authority. When I submit myself to the authority is not going to take away my freedom, or I am going to be misguided. A conviction that I cannot do it on my own. I need to be taught initially. I need to be taught initially, and then I am on my own. So a Shishya would be able to. That is why in the Puranic stories, you find Krishna also having to go to Gurukula and study under Sandipani.
Correct.
Krishna also went to the Gurukula. Rama also has to go to the, he also went to the Gurukula, had a guru, and he prostrated, followed what the guru says, and all this is done because of what? They are leading by examples. They are saying, unless you have been a Shishya, it will not help. But Ramana Maharishi didn't have any guru, sir. Extraordinary thing about Ramana Maharishi is this, sir. Since he didn't have any guru, he never took any disciple also. You know that? He never took any disciple. He said, I am not a teacher. I am not taking any disciple to teach. You want to hang around me, it is your problem, he said. Why? Because he knew that it doesn't work that way. All the disciples who misunderstood and they have their own hallucinations, they do so many things. Even when the ashram was built, Ramana said, I don't know why they built it. I have got nothing to do with, you know, he's not even an ordinary member of that Ramana ashram. One day they announced that there was the ritual of Annadanam. So the announcement made was, all the donors and all those people will eat Madal Pandila avanga saapalla, micha avanga adutha pandikku varanum. And they are all waiting and they are looking for Ramana Maharishi. He was sitting with the beggar group. He said, why are you sitting there? He said, neenga thana sonninga pichakaranukku moonavathu pandinu. My whole lifetime I was a beggar. So I have no right to come and sit in the first round. He never told. That is why even when people bring an example like Ramana Maharishi and all, I say, Ramana Maharishi kuda olunga padichadilla. Because he never took any disciple. Why he never took any disciple? If you have to teach and help, there has to be a lineage. There has to be the parampara. Parampara means if you have not willingly submitted under a guru and taken instructions and followed that instructions, whether you like it or not, you can never become
a teacher.
You can never become a teacher. It's not that the intention was to become a teacher. You can never evolve.
But the only careful part here, right, in what you're saying is, I think people can, at least a lot of people I feel can misunderstand is, sometimes we go searching for the guru, but if the Shishya is ready, the guru comes to the Shishya, isn't it? Right. Or appears before the Shishya.
Yes.
Sometimes with this notion, we think that we have to run and find a guru, but it doesn't work that way, isn't it? Like,
yes, exactly correct. You sit and you prepare yourself. You create that longing. Nature supports. You empty yourself inside. Forces from all direction will rush to fill it in. It's a natural law. That is why the thirst is there, the craving is there, the guru manifests. The guru comes. Zoom layout or over. Austin dana. Austin Houston inga.
Austin.
Anga ukandirundha kuda Zoom mulyama rathri 12 maniki he will come. What is the time there now? 12 o'clock?
It's 10:45, 11.
10:45. He will come. Seriya? Is it okay, Sriram?
Sure.
Yeah. The last clarification from Prasanna, I'll take it and then we'll conclude for today. We say something as Diksha when we go to learn spirituality. What is the Diksha given by a guru? What is the exact process? This Diksha means initiation. Diksha means initiation. Initiating into correction. Initiating into what? Initiating the correction process is Diksha. It is the Shishya that is given Diksha. Diksha means initiation. Initiating into what? People misunderstand it as initiating into a ritual. initiating into a chant adallam kedaiyadu, adukku per deeksha ellam kedaiyadu. Initiating the process of correction. And how does the initiation process starts? What is the exact process? The first process in Diksha, the first step in Diksha, adliye we all come back. The first process in Diksha, the first step in Diksha, the first step in Diksha is
Listening
you
to the
are a
Guru.
fool.
Listening to the Guru.
You are a
Fool.
you are a fool. You are a fool. When Ashtavakra told Janaka, you are a fool, Janaka prostrated to him. Ashtavakra told Janaka, you are a fool. And when Janaka heard that from Ashtavakra, he prostrated. So, Diksha, Prasanna is asking for the process. First process, nariya per vella vandrum. Oh, he is a very arrogant person, sir. He doesn't have that humility. Though he, Vajagovindam, 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 Mudamate. So first step, Diksha, first test, the Guru will check whether you are ready or not. He will say, you are a
Fool.
You are a fool. Udane, no, sir, you don't know my background, you don't know my degree, you don't know my this, you don't know my that. Guru says, go back, come back after 1 year. Come back after 1 year. 1 year is for that preparation. What is the preparation?
To get
I
the
have
humility.
to be ready for the initiation. What is the initiation? The first step in initiation is
acceptance.
Yes. And he will not give you a mantra. He will not touch you. He will not. Yeah. Nayana Diksha, Hasta Diksha, Manasa Diksha, nariya irukudhu. Adallam hope of people, that shortcut adallam. Shortcut. People think, abde avar tottutale porum. Everything will happen. இல்லையா அப்படியே கண்ணால பார்த்தாலே போறோம். என்ன பாருங்க சார், அப்படியே என்ன பார்த்துட்டே இருக்கும். கண்ணால பார்த்தாலே போறோம். ஜூம் மூலியமா எல்லாம் பார்க்க கூடாது, டைரக்டா பார்க்கணும். அது கூட கண்ணாடியை கழட்டிட்டு பாருங்க. இல்ல கண்ணாடி மூலியமா கொஞ்சம் ரிஃப்ளெக்ட் ஆகி பவுன்ஸ் ஆகி போயிடுமா, என்னெல்லாமோ தெரியல. இதெல்லாம் பீப்புள் ஹேவ். தீஸ் ஆர் ஆல் நாட் தீக்ஷா. These are all symbolic. What is the symbolism? The symbolism is
correction.
Acceptance. What is acceptance? Willingly submitting oneself for correction. And what is the first step? The first step in Diksha is the Guru says, you are a
fool.
You are a fool. In the Zen tradition, yeah, Vedanta was also like that once. இப்போ நம்ம பண்றதெல்லாம் வேதாந்தாவே இல்ல, சும்மா டைம் பாஸ். இதெல்லாம் கதா காலக்ஷேபம் தான் ஓடின்னு இருக்குது வாரம் இதெல்லாம். Yeah. In the Zen tradition, the disciple goes, the Guru will look at the disciple. இப்போ அப்படிலாம் பண்ணா கேஸ் போட்டு குருவை தூக்கி உள்ள போட்டுருவாங்க. இப்போ அதெல்லாம் பண்ண முடியாது. Still they do it also. Quite a few do that. And whoever can go through the discipline, they achieve the extraordinary. First thing, what they do is, the Guru will spit on the face. Literally, yeah? Not figuratively, literally. Spit on the face. Kick the student and say, get out. How dare he did that? He in
Humiliation.
Self-respect. He has. How can he do that? Now, our mela case pota aur 6 maasam jail ipo. Yeah. Now, this is called Diksha. This is called Diksha. Not in the way that people misunderstand Diksha to be Mantra Diksha. Mantra Diksha or Mantra சொல்லி கொடுத்துட்டாருன்னா நம்ம பாட்டில் வீட்டை உட்காந்து சொல்லினே இருந்தா I will attain moksha. Nothing like that happened. இல்லையா? அதெல்லாம் ட்ரை பண்ணி இங்க நிறைய பேர் உட்கார்ந்துருக்காங்க. இல்லையா? அதெல்லாம் ட்ரை பண்ணி அவங்க நிறைய பேர் உட்கார்ந்துருக்காங்க. இல்லையா? அவங்க பார்த்தாலே தெரியும் எனக்கு. Who tried all that and didn't work, and finally it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. So what is the exact process? Exposing the ignorance. Exposing the ignorance and telling you that now that I have exposed your ignorance, I know how to make you,
How to correct you?
how to correct. The second Diksha is the affection. He says, I will take care. First he says, you are a fool. That is step number 1. Step number 2 is what?
Affection.
You are a fool, but you are a fool and don't worry. I will
Take care.
take care. As the Diksha. It's not just saying you are a fool and chasing you out. Saying that you are a fool and then saying, I will
Take care.
take care of you. Like Ramtirtha says, shoulder to shoulder, I will take you. Shoulder to shoulder, I will take you. And I will be with you right till the end. Idhudhan Guru. To this work the Guru does, Shishya is grateful. See, same thing to the mother and father also. See, we ourselves don't feel like touching our dirt, no? Excreta, we don't feel like touching ours. The mother,
That's it.
the mother does it. Yeah. People, father also does it. Yeah, nanum panna. Yeah, I also, the father also does it. You are grateful to that. What you yourself detest in you, he says, I accept it and I will remove it. That's the Diksha. Are you able to follow? What you hate in you, what you detest about you, he says, I am okay with it. I will be with you and
Take you shoulder to shoulder.
remove it. As the process of Diksha given by a idhukku per da Diksha. Not in the way that people has misunderstood it today. Seriya?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. With this, we conclude for today and we continue next week. Hopefully, Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, verse number 29. Follow.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari.